Sonic CD is one of the oddest and most polarizing titles in the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Among its peers in the Genesis era of Sonic, CD marks itself as the black sheep of the bunch due to its differences in gameplay, sound direction, and even its native console. That said, it is also a game that has grown a status as an underrated gem, one that I've covered on this channel before, and one that can be discussed quite a bit. Earlier this year, I had my first Iceberg on Super Smash Bros. Brawl as the game celebrated its 15th anniversary. Luckily, another one of my favorite games of all time will see a landmark anniversary in 2023, as Sonic CD will turn 30 come September. With the game's birthday on the horizon, and with new lost info on CD surfacing recently, I thought there was no better time than the present to revisit and revise the Sonic CD Iceberg and dive deep into the nooks and crannies of Sega CD's best-selling stud. So, without further ado, this is the new and improved Sonic the Hedgehog CD Iceberg explained. I'm outta here. This is of course the famous phrase Sonic says after he is left uncontrolled by the player for 3 minutes. In doing so, the famous Easter egg triggers where the blue blur takes it upon himself to time out the player 7 minutes earlier than normal. Secret messages. This refers to the handful of secret screens that can be triggered in the sound test menu with the right inputs. Some of the more notable ones include the preview to Sonic Drift and Batman Sonic, but the most infamous one is Fun is Infinite. The eerie and unusual secret message screen that can be found when entering FM46, PCM12, and DA25 features Sonic wearing a human-like mask with Japanese text that reads, "Fun is Infinite with Sega Enterprises." The weird Sonic figure has since been referred to as Majin Sonic. Soundtracks. This acknowledges the fact that Sonic CD has 2 soundtracks, its native one used in Japan and the PAL regions, and the North American soundtrack made in the US. This was the result of creative differences during the game's localization. The subject of fan preference between the 2 soundtracks has held some debate and criticism over the years. I actually have a mini documentary on the topic, so if you're interested, check that out after the Iceberg. Sonic OVA. This is the nickname of the 1996 Sonic the Hedgehog original video animation that would subsequently become a dubbed direct-to-video movie in the West by 1999. The movie features Metal Sonic as a focal point, and the matchup between it and Sonic parallels much to Metal Sonic's debut game in Sonic CD. Debug Mode. Like all Genesis-era Sonic titles, Sonic CD features a debug mode. In the sound test, input FM40, PCM12, and DA11. Then hit the start button. If this sequence is set correctly, then you should have the aforementioned image of Tails, a Jeep, and a word from the staff saying "See you next game." Push any button and you shall go back to the main menu screen. Start any game and you will be in debug mode. DA Garden. The DA Garden is a feature included in a few Sonic games as an extra. It's essentially an interactive sound test similar to a visualizer. This name was first used for the sound test in Sonic CD, though I'm not sure why it is named that. Tails. Tails can be unlocked as a playable character in both the 2011 and 2022 re-releases of Sonic CD. It was rumored for Tails to be playable in the original 1993 release, however, his addition never came to fruition. Vocals removed. This refers to how the vocals from the themes for both the intro and the ending of CD were removed for the 2011 master, likely because of licensing reasons. Collision detection. This is simply acknowledging how bad the collision detection in the game is at some points, especially in the earlier versions of CD, like the original and the Windows 95 port. Bad Future is canon. This is the theory that the bad future of CD is canon, since Sonic fights Metal Sonic in Sonic Generations and Mania. Track 02. This refers to track 02 in the sound test, which is the beta time travel transition sound effect. In later versions of the game, it was subsequently removed. R2. R2 is the longtime file name of the removed zone of Sonic CD. R2 is infamous in Sonic CD lore and has been covered under many names over the years. The real names we'll address as we continue down the iceberg. However, it was commonly referred to by the community as Relic Ruins. Special Stage 8. Special Stage 8 is the secret special stage that is only accessible through the sound test, standing out by featuring a giant Eggman head in the background. Final Fever. Final Fever is the original true final boss of the 2011 remake of Sonic CD that was ultimately cut from the final release. The boss, aptly named after the final boss track from the soundtrack, would have only been available if the player had acquired all of the Time Stones. Prototypes. This refers to the multiple prototypes of Sonic CD that have leaked over the years. These include version 0.02, the earliest known build, Prototype 510, leaked by Sega Extreme in 2000, and Prototype 920, a US build that retains the non-localized soundtrack. Desert Dazzle. Desert Dazzle was a canned zone for the 2011 Christian Whitehead re-release of Sonic CD. Despite being cut, an image of the zone is still present in the game, and a popular belief is that the basis of Desert Dazzle was used to create Mirage Saloon Zone in the Whitehead-led Sonic Mania in 2016. Hold Out Programmer. In the 510 prototype of Sonic CD, the second stage in the special stage has text that reads, "The programmer has a nap. Hold out, programmer." It is believed to be a mistranslation by the game's developers. Salad Plane. Salad Plane is known as the prototype title for Palmtree Panic, infamous for how the pass theme of the game's version uses CD quality audio, an aspect that is not present in the final version. You Say. You Say was the text that can be seen on the signpost in one of the more famous prototypes of Sonic CD, the same one that contains Salad Plane. Because of this, they are often tied together. Wacky Workbench Statue. This refers to the statue that can be found in multiple time periods of Wacky Workbench. In the past, the statue is of an angel, while in the bad future, it is of Robotnik. It is rumored that the assets are reused from the cut R2 stage. Pause plus A, B, or C. In the 1993 version of CD, if you input pause and A, B, or C, you'll be sent back to the title screen. Remix Album. This refers to the Sonic the Hedgehog Remix album, which features remixes of music from the original international soundtrack of Sonic CD. I always loved the art of Sonic on the cover. Collision Chaos Secret Exit. I'm pretty sure this is about the glitch that is possible in Collision Chaos. If I'm remembering correctly, if Sonic hits a certain wall in the stage, his character will clip and launch him to the end of the level. Beta Bosses. This refers to the earlier renditions of the bosses that have been seen in the more documented prototypes of CD. Mobius in Collision Chaos. This refers to the mirrored land visible above Collision Chaos, as it is the closest zone near Earth. It is a popular theory that the other land is actually Sonic's home of Mobius from the comic canon of the series. Beta Theme. This calls to the theme on the title screen of the beta version of CD, which is a different track from the ones that we're familiar with in the final releases. Zone Locations. In the game, there are maps that detail the locations of each zone relative to Little Planet. There are maps for the present, the good future, and the bad future. Amy is from Little Planet. This is the theory that some have that suggests that Amy Rose is a native of Little Planet. as her series debut was in CD and the player first encounters her in collision chaos within Little Planet. There is also no point in the game where the player can see how Amy got on Little Planet, which is further fuels this hypothesis. Past US themes. This is about the never finished past themes for the North American soundtrack. These themes were never made for the US OST due to time constraints and technological factors that the US team faced with creating the localized soundtrack. Again, check out the Sonic CD OST video for more on that. Alex Lee, Take It. Take It, a 1991 dance track by the Italian artist Alex Nari, became the headcanon theme for the Lost R2 stage after much use in hoaxes of the zone over the years. R2's Good Future theme. This is a theory that believes that the track used for the DA Garden was actually originally the Good Future theme for the cut R2 zone. This rumor has some level of merit, as Mezzin, a developer who has said to work on the visuals of the cut stage, confirmed it as what was supposed to be R2's present theme via Twitter. Sonic Boom album. The Sonic Boom album is a compilation of tracks released utilizing the North American soundtrack of Sonic CD. Visual mode. Visual mode is a mode in the 2011 remaster that is used to view cutscenes. Sonic Mania Day. No, this isn't about the 2016 game. Sonic Mania Day was an advertisement campaign by Sega in the US that marked the release of 3 Sonic games at once on November 23rd of 1993. Of course, alongside Sonic CD, the other games were Sonic Chaos for the Game Gear and Sonic Spinball for the Genesis. Metallic Madness Pass 2 is impossible. This is just saying that the last level of the game could be hard as hell. And trust me, I've been there. 100 rings in Zone 3. This just points that it's possible to get 100 rings in Tidal Tempest, which, yeah. RAM cart screen. The RAM cartridge screen is one that pops up when there is an error with the RAM of the system. Featuring Robotnik, it reads, RAM cartridge is not initialized. Use option screens to initialize RAM cartridge. Sonic and Eggman monitors. There are monitors of both Sonic and Eggman respectively in the future versions of Quartz Quadrant, with Robotnik in Act 1 and Sonic in Act 3. 999 rings in Wacky Workbench. In the first act of Wacky Workbench, it is possible to accumulate max rings by taking advantage of the statue room, traveling in and out. Stardust Speedway Cathedral. This is about the Gothic cathedral present in the past version of Act 2 of Stardust Speedway. In the present, the structure turns into a building of Robotnik under construction, and in the good and bad futures respectively, it becomes a mansion or the finished Eggman structure. Unused song loops. This points to the loops of the level tracks in the game files that have gone unused for the most part amongst other lost assets. Green Hills. This points out that the Toot Toot Sonic Warrior theme from the original soundtrack of CD originates from the theme of Green Hills Zone from the 8-bit version of Sonic 2 on the Game Gear and Master System. Japan OST samples. This is in regards to the samples that were used to compose the original soundtrack of CD. Again, full details in my CD OST mini doc, but many of the popular house and dance music samples of the late 80s and early 90s were drawn from to create a completely new sound for Sonic. Instant time travel. From what I've searched, I believe this is about the popular request some fans have about adding the option to make time travel feature instantaneous when touching the past and future posts. Understandably so, since the time travel mechanic can be tedious at times, but I think it adds to the length and the learning curve of the game. Floating Green Planet. This refers to the strange green floating area that is present in the Little Planet map above a body of water. This area isn't any of the zones that the player traverses and is unknown what location it's supposed to be. Sonic Mania time placement. In the Sonic Mania versions of Stardust Speedway Act 2 and Metallic Madness Act 2, the backgrounds depict zones that have advanced a bit towards the bad future, further than they were in the original game. This is supported by the Eggman building in Stardust Speedway looking nearly completed, likewise to the completed structure in the zone's bad future. Past Little Planet map. This acknowledges the fact that despite there being maps for the present and both futures, there is no map for the past version of Little Planet. It is unknown why it was cut, or maybe it never existed to begin with. Mercury Mine. Mercury Mine was an alleged scrap zone from the beta of Sonic CD. The stage was ultimately proved to be a hoax, alongside its beta build. Zone Lore. This touches on the idea that there is much more to be implicated just below the surface when discussing the purpose of the zones on Little Planet, like what is being produced in Wacky Workbench. Is the Stardust Speedway structure another egg weapon? Peel Out and Pause. Peel Out and Pause is the most popular glitch to take advantage of amongst the Sonic CD speedrunning community. If done at the right time, Sonic will be able to phase through walls and hitboxes. Time Zone's True Power. The true power of the Sonic CD exclusive Time Stones are never given thorough detail in game. Being distinct from the conventional Chaos Emeralds, there is actually very little we know about the Time Stones other than their connection to the time travel plot point of CD. Metallic Madness is artificial. This just points out that Metallic Madness, as seen on the Little Planet maps, sits entirely upon a man-made island, which can be likely contributed to Robotnik's doing. Never Lake. This is a debunked theory, but it was said that Never Lake was above Collision Chaos, but with Little Planet being chained to start the game, it isn't plausible for Never Lake to be visible. Princess Sally. This calls to the fact that the American manual for CD mistakenly refers to Amy Rose as Princess Sally, likely as the Sonic Sat-Am cartoon was popular at the time. Amy's tarot reading skills. This just points out that Amy reading tarot cards was a trait given to her around Sonic CD and was referenced again in the Sonic Origins re-release. Pencil Test. The pencil test was an animation to test how well the Sega/Mega CD could render full motion video animation. Sonic 1 and 2 on CD. This is about how Sonic CD was originally supposed to be a remastered port of Sonic 1 and 2, taking advantage of the audio and visual upgrades of the Mega CD. Metal's Eyes. This calls to how some art of Metal actually features it with gray eyes instead of red. Possibly, it's simply the light in his eyes not activated. Can I Kick It? I thought somehow Sonic CD had found a way to tie to the Tribe Called Quest song, but no, it's actually about the sound test screen that features Sonic, or should I say, the fastest DJ MC Sonic, saying, "Can I kick it?" Maybe he is rapping the song. Moon Jump Hugs. This is another glitch in the game that could be exploited. When Amy hugs you, if a certain frame is triggered, then it will cause Sonic to be able to jump extremely high, aka moon jumping. Dubious Depths. Dubious Depths is the recently revealed real name of the scrap zone of Sonic CD that had been known as R2 for many years. This was finally unveiled after a Sonic fan named Master Dreamcaster reached out to CD's director Naito Oshima, asking him if he had any information he could share about R2. His response went as follows: "The eliminated round is Dubious Depths. I don't remember what it was about." He also said that the stage was ultimately removed due to it not matching Sonic's speed, as well as suggesting that it was a dungeon-like level. Ridicule Route. This ties to the previous one, but in an effort to confirm Dubious Depths' authenticity, Alexi Angel Fox, aka the Sonic CD guy, reached out to CD's landscape designer Masato Nishimura, aka Mazin, to verify Oshima's claims. Mazin would go on to agree that Dubious Depths was the name, but also revealed that one of the earlier names for the stage was actually Ridicule Route. Erosion Level. This refers to a piece of lost art for Sonic CD that was included in the museum mode of Sonic Origins. This concept art shows a linear map of the zones of CD, including dubious depths, and over each level there is a percentage. This percentage is the area's erosion level, aka how much Robotnik has infected the location with his technology. For instance, the lush and beautiful Palmtree Panic has an erosion level of 0, while the completely metallic Madness has an erosion level of 100. Collision Chaos Signs. This may call to the neon signs within Collision Chaos that contains odd gibberish text. From my knowledge, they have no meaning, but are one of the few made-up scripts that were used in-game. Little Planet's inhabitants. This refers to the odd lack thereof of regular inhabitants of Little Planet. While it's clear that Robotnik is attempting to take over the planet, there is absolutely zero evidence of people living on Little Planet other than woodland critters, despite the presence of all kinds of cities and regions across the land. True ending. This calls to the ending cutscene of Sonic CD, which implies that the game was originally supposed to end at Stardust Speedway. Maybe even after the race with Metal Sonic, the final boss would act as the second leg of that fight. Metal Sonic is Sonic. This is a theory that has existed for some time that suggests that Metal Sonic isn't simply Robotnik's ultimate creation to defeat Sonic, but rather Sonic himself from the Bad Future timeline, where he is roboticized and turned into a minion of Robotnik, sent to the past and the present to help Eggman take over Little Planet. Depressed Badniks. The title is a bit dramatic, but this calls to the appearance of the Badniks in the Bad Future, with them looking beat and worn down. Egg HVC-001. Egg HVC-001 is the first boss in CD at the end of Palmtree Panic. It is believed that this boss is so easy because Eggman wasn't prepared for Sonic's arrival to thwart his plans in Little Planet, and that the game's progression revolves around Robotnik slowly gathering his assets to take down Sonic. I don't know, I have a hunch that it's easy because it's the first stage. R2 in Outro. This points out the fact that the lost R2 stage may actually be featured in the credits animation of CD, as there's a segment in the cutscene that people can't seem to link to any other stage like the other parts. Rising Jupiter. In Special Stage 2, you can see the planet Jupiter rising up in the background of the level. Knuckles. This one is more of a non-inclusion because Knuckles is simply unplayable in Sonic CD, especially because the game came out prior to Sonic 3 and Knuckles didn't exist. Also, Sonic CD would never get the Knuckles in Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 treatment, which is understandable because the gameplay of CD was much more tedious and including Knuckles' abilities would likely break the game. Acid Trip. This is also about Special Stage 2, as it has a crazy background that some could say resembled tripping on acid. Tidal Tempest missing. In the credits cutscene, all of the zones, except for Tidal Tempest, are present. It is because of this that it is believed that Tidal Tempest was perhaps the last zone to be worked on, or that it wasn't intended to be in the final version of the game whatsoever. However, I don't think it's that deep. CX Room. There is a hidden room in Quartz Quadrant Zone 1 Past which cannot be reached during normal play. When entering the room with edit mode, the room has a glitch floor collision and the letters CX in the background made from shadowed tiles. These letters may be the signature of Masato Nishimura, who designed the graphics for Quartz Quadrant, as CXX is a nickname Nishimura is occasionally credited under, as seen in the developer Time Attack screens above and in the credits for Dark Wizard as CXX Majin. 8th Time Stone. This may be about the discussion around both Dubious Depths and Special Stage 8, as there's a cut zone and an extra special stage. It has been theorized that there may have been an 8th Time Stone that was cut from the game as well. Little Planet is alive. This refers to the theory that Little Planet, as in the planet itself, is alive. The concept is that Little Planet is alive and trying to assist Sonic in defeating Robotnik to, in turn, save itself. This is supported by how the structure of the game nudges Sonic towards certain time travel points in both the original game as well as the CD stages in Sonic Mania. And with that, we've reached the end of this iceberg. If you got this far, shout out to you. Not as long as the last one, but a lot of topics to touch on. And I do want to apologize if my voice will sound a little iffy there throughout because I am coming under the weather. But nevertheless, I do appreciate you for watching. CD is arguably my favorite Sonic title ever, so I hope y'all enjoyed it because I would love to update the iceberg in the future or even just cover the game more in general. Be sure to let me know what topic here you would love to see get an entire video in itself, or which one was your favorite. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know if there are any other games that you would like to see get their own icebergs or just their own videos in general. With all that being said, as always, take care, good game, and thank you so much for watching. Take care, good game, and thank you so much for watching. Peace.